Another important aspect of on-site SEO is heading tags, and this isn't just for WordPress, this is for just any web page in general. You should make good use of heading tags. If you don't know HTML, there's 6 different tags we can use for a heading, and that's H1 through H6. H1 being the biggest, H6 being the smallest. And search engines actually look at heading tags just to get an idea of what your main focus of the post is about. This article that we have is pretty well. The headings are optimized pretty well. We have the H1 heading, which is the post name, and a lot of times you'll do the H1 tag, which will match the page title or come pretty close, because these two things will let Google or other search engines indicate what the post is actually about. So you want to have an H1 tag. You only want to have one H1 tag in a post. You don't want more, and you also don't want to stuff the H1 tag with multiple keywords if it doesn't really make sense. This heading makes sense. It has the home office organization and then tips to cut the clutter. And these are just clever ways to implement keywords in the heading without being stuffed or repeating the keywords. And then under that, we have what our H2 tag. I think they're H2. Let me just check real quick what these are. Okay, so these are H4 tags. I would suggest using, you can see there's a lot of these. If it's a top level heading, I'd suggest using an H2 or an H3 tag. And then if you need to have subheadings underneath, then use the H4, H5, and H6. So let's go ahead and go into that post in the back end. And let's see. I'm going to use the text view so we can see the headings. And you can see we have H4. I'm going to change these. I'm going to change these to H3s. So we'll search for all the H4s. And H1 being the biggest by default, if you don't want your H1 tag to be that big, then you can definitely change that from within CSS. Different templates and even different fonts can display in different sizes. Alright, so let's update that and see if there's any. Alright, so the headings now, the H3 are a little bit bigger with this template. So these are H3s. So let's do some. Let's do a subheading. So let's see. So under this inexpensive home office shelving, after the paragraph content, I'm going to put another heading. Let's see. We'll say office shelving types. Okay, so let's make this, since this is an H3, then let's make this say an H5. So I'm going to go to the text and alright, so I'm going to wrap this in an H5 tag. Okay, and as far as the content under it, we'll just say metal shelf, wood shelf, and plastic shelf. And we'll make those list items. Alright. So now we have an H5 subheading, which is in the content under the H3 heading. Okay, so this is related to this, so you don't want to create another H3 tag. Okay, you just want to use nested headings. So that's really it. There's not really much more to talk about on this subject, but you do want to use headings in your posts with keywords, but not too many keywords.